This one.
So it's time for the meeting to come to order. We'll review the tentative business meeting agenda. Steve, you have the invocation? All right. If we have any announcements to make, we'll make them. We have a public hearing on an ordinance tentatively identified as ordinance number 1467, an ordinance amending ordinance number 704, proposing to change the zoning districts of properties located at 976 East Arcadia Drive and 9399 Babcock Boulevard from zoning district I institutional and R1, 1 and 2 family residential to R6 elderly housing district, and amending the town zoning map accordingly. This rezoning request would facilitate the construction of 2 buildings linked together containing 90 independent living apartments with various indoor and outdoor amenities. This public hearing will be reviewed at the Town Council Zoning Committee meeting of April 9th, 2017, and scheduled for a vote by Town Council on October 23rd, 2017.
You said April 9th, you meant October.
Hey, you misspoke and said April.
Yes, well, I just wanted
Pardon?
The first one you said April, it's October.
October.
Both cases.
Number 6, a public hearing on an ordinance tentatively identified as ordinance number 1468, an ordinance established an active volunteer fire service credit program, authorizing local tax credits for members of volunteer fire companies, and establishing administrative procedures and appeals. The ordinance will be voted on at Town Council's reconvened regular business meeting intended to be scheduled for October 9th, 2017, which will reconvene at 7:30 p.m. at Town Hall. Moving on to number 7.
That's mine.
Ralph,
Yes, sir.
number 8.
Wait a second. I have some questions on the draft minutes. On the first page, the invocation was given by Council Member Zachary, I believe, and not McCandless, and was followed by a pledge of allegiance. So
That's correct.
Yeah. With you catch up.
Anything else, Greg?
Yeah, on page 2, motion was made by Councilman LaDawn and seconded by Councilman McKim to approve the minutes of the council's regular business meeting of July 17, 2017. That was not me. I didn't second the minutes.
Okay, note that change.
And will you make another change, 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraph where it says?
We're still on page 2?
Yeah, still page 2, 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph where it says Councilman Ocasio discussed his objection to the comment included in the July minutes, remarked that comments such as this, then why don't you strike in this, why don't you just put may or may not be accurate?
Andy, give an extra set. I must have left mine at that. Sorry.
Where are you reading, Greg?
The
Are we
fourth
Page 2,
paragraph.
4th paragraph down right here.
Second
Second
sentence
sentence.
down.
Thank you.
What do you want, may or may not?
Yeah, may, such as this may or may not be accurate, but may not be appropriate to include, particularly if it may cause unnecessary harm, may cause unnecessary harm. To a person's reputation.
Well, just as the underlying comments that were transcribed that are the subject of that, if that's what you said?
Yeah, well, yeah, I have the,
No, I have no objections,
Yeah.
changing that. I think they ought to say what they're saying. We shouldn't be
Right.
making up
Right, yeah.
paragraphs that are,
Well, it's not that
No, I
far
understand.
apart, but, yeah, but I wrote,
no objections, what I'm
okay,
saying.
okay. So. Okay, that's all I have, that's all I have in the minutes.
Does everyone have the changes?
You want to double check, please? We have
Page 2.
Zachary for the invocation.
The top,
Fourth
McKim.
paragraph down.
no, the first paragraph,
I got the invocation.
The
and,
Kim and made the motion. instead.
second.
Kim on the second of the motion
Yeah.
for the minutes, okay, and unnecessary harm?
Well, second sentence I put, as this may or may not be accurate. Be not, but, and then in the third line, I have, if it may cause unnecessary harm to a person's reputation.
So you added the word unnecessary.
Well, yeah, I had it in the thing I read.
Okay. Got it, Jerry.
Got it? Anything else on the minutes? Okay. Number 8, the Finance Committee, Councilwoman Byers.
Number 1, move to ratify check listing number 9, dated August 17th, 2017, through September 14th, 2017, totaling $891,927.08 as submitted to each member of council and as posted on the bulletin board and town website. Any comments from council? Okay. No comments? We move on to number 2. Move to adopt resolution of the 2017 series, a resolution authorizing the expansion of the types of permitted investments for the temporary investments of town funds in accordance with the Act of March 25th, 2016, PL 72, number 10, entitled Investment of Public Corporation or Authority Funds, Act 10 of 2016, and incorporating this authorization into a policy statement for the temporary investment of town funds. Any comments?
That'll be number 15, the resolution. There's a blank there.
I just have one question. Bill, this is really illegal. Isn't PL, shouldn't be PL be in uppercase? Public law number
Yes.
72?
Yes.
So that should be, that's just a stylistic thing, but it
Yeah,
ought to be,
yeah.
I'm not sure
You
if
want
any
it to be
period.
capital letters?
Yeah, that's just how it's supposed to be. I don't think any periods after that either, actually. I think they put the convention is just put PL. It's a very minor point, but it's definitely capitalized.
Yeah, it's definitely
Or at
capitalized.
least put it P, capital P, period, capital L, period.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay,
Anyone has any questions on the list of bills, you can talk to Reed. New business. This is the acknowledgement that the town has received its minimum municipal obligation, MMO, for its police and phased out non-uniform defined benefit pension plans and its non-uniform defined contribution pension plan. Anything else at the minutes that we need corrected?
Please note that we have scheduled the motion to adjourn to October 9th to enact the firefighter tax credit. Have that scheduled for enactment so that they give the fire companies ample time to prepare if the council enacts that.
Okay? move right along to the agenda review. Our agenda of the Planning Commission, Councilman Kim.
On the September 5th, 2017, the Planning Commission dealt with the Extension Collaboration Systems rezoning issues that we discussed. And on 10/3/2017, preliminary and final approval of land application for the Park Edge number 2, the former site of the Kotobuki restaurant. Those are the two items that were discussed and considered. Nothing further, Mr. President.
Any questions?
Former site of which restaurant, sir? I'm sorry.
The Kotobuki
Kotobuki.
restaurant.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
The zoning hearing board, the zoning hearing board.
Yeah, it's for the zoning hearing board for August 24th, 2017. I think one case deserves attention. It was the case continued from July 27th, 2017 hearing dealing with the executive office building at 8150 Perry Highway, which is near Perry Highway and Perrymont Road. 8150 Perry Highway is in a RC zone district, which is residential-commercial. It was purchased by the applicant in 2009. The office building needs additional parking spaces. It currently has valet parking. The applicant bought the lot with a house on it at 8124 Locust in 2014, approximately 5 years after they bought the office building. And Ridden Road, an unopened public road used by the executive office building for parking, separates the executive office building from the property known as 8124 Locust Street. The lot at 8124 has about approximately 6,000 square feet in it, and the lot behind it, purchased by the applicant in 2009, has approximately 17,000 square feet. The applicant wanted to change these lots into a parking lot for the executive office building. However, 8124 Locust and the lot behind it are in an R2 district, which is a residential district. The applicant needed a use variance as opposed to a dimensional variance. Use variance is looking to change the character of the property. 5 neighbors spoke up against the granting of the variance, and the zoning hearing board ruled against the applicant and denied the variance. I would like to read a short excerpt from Ryan's treatise on zoning. It said, with respect to use variances, many reported variance cases involve an application for a variance which will also allow a owner to devote his property to a use forbidden by the zoning ordinance. It is not surprising that cases involving use variances find their way into the courts, for the use variance is usually a critical both to the owner and to the neighboring property owners. Generally, a use variance application is the most difficult type of case for an applicant to carry successfully, for use variances always have a tendency to change the zoning line itself, a function usually reserved for the legislative body, which would be us, town council. Accordingly, few such variance applications can successfully win, except short of showing the property has no reasonable value as zoned. But the property in this case, the applicant was emphasizing the needs of the executive office building as far as additional parking was concerned. The applicant should have been emphasizing the property in the R2 zone district, and that it would have no reasonable value as zoned. At one point, the applicant said that if the variance was not granted, they would have to build a residential building on it and lease it. And that pretty much shot everything, that pretty much shot their case. So clearly the property they were looking to get a variance for had value in the district in which it was, which was, it was zoned R2. Alan Shruckrow, the attorney for the zoning hearing board, entered into the record of the zoning map and other documents that should allow the zoning hearing board to support the decision if appealed to the Common Pleas Court. And zoning hearing board members were Dick Halloran, the chairman, Greg Quachek, vice chairman, Ken Cuccinelli. I feel they did a really good job in evaluating all the evidence and made a decision that should not be overturned in appeal. And there's no zoning cases in September.
Okay, thanks, Greg.
Sure.
Sanitary Authority attended the meeting and everything is going as planned. They're working on their centrifuges and their new pump station that they built. And everything seems to be in order. Northland Public Library.
Skip the ambulance.
Skip the ambulance authority. D.
Oh,
Skip
the ambulance, I don't wanna skip you.
Okay, well, it's not me, it's just, that's what's on the agenda. The ambulance authority will meet the next time, September 25th, 2017. I've not yet seen the agenda. As far as I'm aware, there's nothing earth-shaking that's going to be raised at that meeting. Nothing further on the ambulance authority, Mr. President.
Thank you. Northland Public Library Authority, Councilwoman Byers.
This Saturday, the library will have its vendor fair. It's on the 23rd from 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon at Ross Township Community Center. It will also include a bake sale. I just thought this might be of interest to you, at least it was to me. We got a printout, the circulation at the library of books and other materials, McCandless from January until July. The circulation number was 162,576 pieces of material, which I thought was a very interesting number. I think that's tremendous, that the library is being used so well. You can also go on an app.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Is there, pardon me for, do you have a comparative figures for some other,
I do.
I mean, just to show us what,
I do.
you said that was a high number.
Right.
What are some
Franklin Park has 82,894. Bradford Woods has 5,406. And Marshall has 35,814.
Thank you.
So that's a comparison
Yes.
from those and McCandless. You can also go on your computer to Google Home and Alexa, and you can also, on that, you can see what's happening at Northland and hear the upcoming events. So that's a new thing. And we also chose, the Personnel Board also chose the new junior board member. The young man that was on the board has gone to college this year. So this young lady is from Vincentian Academy. That concludes my report.
Thank you. A lot of a big improvement, or big difference from when we had storefront on.
Oh, for sure,
Really great
for sure.
road.
That's why I thought the number would be kind of interesting.
North Hills COG, Councilman Vidal.
Mr. President, we have not met since my last report. We plan to meet this coming Thursday evening, which is the legislative meeting. That's my report.
Nice report. Joint Recreation Board is the summer recreation program ended, as I reported last month. Volunteer Firefighter Steering Committee, Councilman Ledon.
Mr. President, there's not been a request for a meeting at this point in time.
MIDA, Councilman McKim.
The last meeting was on August the 30th, 2017, concerning generally the topic of Vincentian Regency property. The MIDA is a conduit for two loans, both for matters concerning the Vincentian Collaborative Services. One was for $26 million, and the other was that was to refinance the loan for Vincentian Collaborative Services. And then the second one was to regarded a loan for $20 million. And now remember that these are that the town, the MIDA, bears no ultimate responsibility or any responsibility for that matter, and it's just a legal fact, so to speak, that permits the borrower to get a much lower rate of interest than they would otherwise get by having the MIDA serve as a conduit for the loan. And there are many other such organizations throughout the state that take advantage of that. I have nothing else there. Well, I would, except to add, there are two banks where the actual loan, we're loaning the money. We don't loan any money, we just sort of put an endorsement on it. Okay, nothing else?
Bill, so those were loans, they weren't bond issues or anything?
That's correct.
Okay.
McCandless northern area. Northern Allegheny Heritage Center. We had a big crowd through the Community Day affair. And I guess we had a high school reunion over there.
Class of '67 from North Allegheny.
And we had a few other events.
Ross Township Historical Society came over to check it out. Busload from Vincentian Villa is coming. And we had a very good turnout for a video presentation called This is Pittsburgh. Basically, capacity, filled the seating to capacity. There was a premiere event. It was very nice. This is Pittsburgh was prepared by Bob Cahalan, who's a retired North Allegheny school teacher and lives on Seminole. They did a great job of that. Said he's been working on it for 8 years. It showed a lot of fine work. And we have upcoming events in October. In addition to just being open for the 5 days a week that we're open. We're billing too as Haunted Heritage, Ghosts and Legends of Western Pennsylvania on October the 7th, and the Haunted Heritage Ghost Stories Open Mic Night on October 21st. So we've been publicizing that in our media. And we're working on Holiday Heritage coming up for November and December. Various ideas are being pursued.
Any questions, Al?
And we are still advertising for people for the committee for fundraising and activities, right?
Community Day Committee. I think everybody who was at Community Day had a good time. We had fine weather this year. Probably a pretty good sized crowd, which I could judge. And a lot of good reports. Everybody told me how much fun they had. It was a good event. So we'll have our wrap-up show, our critique on Tuesday.
26th.
No, the
26th.
the 26th. And we'll see what the committee says we need to do, if we need to improve anything. That wraps up Community Day.
What time is that meeting on the 26th?
10:30 a.m.
10:30. Environmental Advisory Committee.
Kim was on vacation. I know we had a meeting on the August, when?
Last Wednesday.
Well, where substantive stuff was one on August the 9th, where the environmental committee was, dealt with sustainability issues handled by Jim Price. And, I think that's all that I have to report on that. Toby, did you want to add anything?
As I understand it, the committee, the environmental committee wants to discuss further their, whether they have a consensus on the sustainability project moving forward. Meanwhile, as we talked about, Kim Zachary pointed out at the last agenda review meeting that we have given council the information on the packet of information on which to base the sustainability evaluation. And so I think from what I gather, I want to talk to the chairman, Jason Singer, who was reelected here last week, to go over that with him and see what he has to say about that. And then it'll be council's turn to evaluate about the process.
Mr. President, I think that's all to report on the environmental committee.
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment, if I may, please. We have 9 members of boards and commissions whose terms will be ending at the end of this year. Toby will have to advertise for 30 days, so I think he needs to start the advertising so that he can schedule the interviewing, because there will be quite a few people that we have to interview.
I think we had a list somewhere.
Yeah, I think-
Yes, we have-
I had it just here
We
late
got a
this
list,
this
we got a
afternoon.
list of people.
Yeah, we put that together, it looks accurate. I think there are 9 vacancies. Well, terms ending.
We can probably advertise and then start figuring out how we're gonna get all these people in.
Well, the advertisement would run through the middle of October, which means that the steering committee for the implementable comprehensive plan, those applications are due at the end of this month, so the interviews for that group would take place earlier in October. And then just as we'll be all practiced up with interviewing, be able to embark on interviewing for any of the terms that are expiring later in the month in November and December. January. Last year it took us into January to get them all done.
For the sake of accuracy, the very last item on the distributed list of firms expiring, I think has a couple typos in it that probably ought to be corrected if this is going to be republished for other purposes. Uniform, I think, is what's intended there. And construction code instead of co-ed, CODE. Other than that, looks okay to me.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. President's Council's report, I don't have anything to report, I've already made my report. Town manager's report.
The Duncan Babcock signal, nothing new on what I have written here, but just want to point out that signal will have a left-hand turn arrow phase. PennDOT is authorized, and prices came in a nice amount lower, about $2,000 lower than estimated. So as soon as the contracts are signed, we'll be able to schedule that work.
Harvey, let me jump up to 1B, Candace Crossing East. Adventure site work continues and construction has begun on its 33,000 square foot. Why don't you strike the word office and just say building in there?
That's the way it was worded on the land development plan. It's being referred to as an office building, and that is an office building. It's housing and training academy as well as some other potential uses, but it was approved that it does have the term office building. I'll gladly strike it, that's what council would like me to do.
Yeah, I mean, it really causes, I'm getting some feedback and they say there's no way that this is an office building.
That's how it's designed. It's being designed as an office building with a training academy in the building.
Yeah, but impacts rents 28,000 of the 33,000 square feet.
Okay. So we'll just call it a building.
Yeah,
I would
Is
say,
that all right with everybody?
for the application, no, I'm opposed to that. I think it is what it was in there. We shouldn't be trying to jimmy the
That's right.
verbiage.
We're making history here.
Well, that's exactly right. We gotta just leave it. That's what the application said, correct?
That's my understanding. We
Okay. And
there's
carried the
gonna
word
be
office
offices
building,
in it.
since if
And, I mean,
it's
an
not in
office
the land
building, I
development
guess, is the
drawing,
eye of the
then
beholder.
we'll change, we can change it. But that's my understanding, that's what's
But I
on
would
there.
leave it like it was
If I
there.
knew where it was, I'd go get it right now.
I would too. I would leave it.
You have to leave it. That's
I
what it
agree.
is.
I leave it as it is.
I will give you one update. I heard
Have to
from,
leave it as it is, it was what it says in the application, right?
Bruce Betty told me today that the Impacts business is going to be using space next to Pet Value for signups, for memberships, and small classes, because they offer a variety of classes. As has been said repeatedly, use of the firing range is a component of what they do. So they're going to be having some of their classes in one of the vacant unit that's beside the Pet Value. And we'll be taking registrations. Don't have a date on that yet, but we know that we'll post that.
Anything else on your report?
Well, it's really good news about the last item on my report, the Vincentian Fields and CITF grant. That project is, we really worked expediently to get that put together, to get the grant together. We received a good chunk of the grant. We had to revise some of the work in order to downsize the work a bit with the amount of the grant that we received. We had requested $250,000, and it was great to get the $200,000 that we did get. So we are able to use the material that we're excavating there. Our soils engineers determined that material is great for fill. We're able to transport that, and are doing that right now, over to Harmony Drive, which we have in our budget, had a placeholder number of $325,000. So we're going to be able to, we're not buying fill, we're cutting from one place, which is improving a site there, and conveying it over to Harmony Drive to build a buttress for the roadway there. So it's a win-win. And the work is progressing along at a very fast rate, because it has to. The contractor has 6 weeks to get the work done, and he's making great progress, and should have grass growing by the end of the month. The weather right now is fantastic, so far so good.
I noticed one thing that I think is nothing important, but I thought it was kind of an interesting use of words. In number 5, the last sentence says apple cider and other yummies will be.
Well,
I never heard that term used like that.
Well, John Ujarski has, and I borrowed it
Is
from
Sean
him.
responsible for that?
You never
John's
heard of yummies?
responsible.
Yummies, no, I guess it's
You know,
not.
I was gonna change it to, I had a thought of goodies or snacks, but I didn't wanna break his heart,
Yeah,
so I.
Your mother never called it yummy.
No,
He-
John likes it,
heard
John
that
Bajorski
many
likes
times.
it, he wrote it, that's
He
fine,
put
I'm
it
not
on
objecting to
Facebook
it.
and everywhere else he could think of, so I figured, why not my report?
Absolutely. No, my mother never used the term young.
That's all I have, sir. If anybody has any questions.
Anything else you have to mention?
No, sir.
Any questions on the manager's report? Town attorney's report?
Nothing to report, sir.
Nothing to report. Are we finished?
Until you adjourn, or
Any comments from anyone in the front of the table?
The audience?
Any comments from anyone in the audience?
Are we allowed to public comment?
Pardon?
Are we allowed to public comment?
Yes.
Yes?
Barbara Richards, 305 Manor Court. I would just like to comment that I think that once again, the minutes that you're proposing here are biased and very unfair. And I don't think anybody noticed that. I didn't realize that Mr. Hoffman was now the police chief, which is what it seems to state on there. But my comment really is just that I think that the writing of the minutes shows bias. Thank you.
Any other comments?
I just have a question for Mr. McKim. Mr. McKim, I know that the MIDA does not meet on a regular basis, just as needed, right?
That's right.
So this last one, I missed it. I was trying to get to one, but I guess it was put up, I didn't see it. And you, the money that you endorse or, I don't know what you call back the loan or whatever you do.
No, we
is that-
do not back the
No,
loan.
whatever it is.
We don't endorse. but
What is it?
please-
What should you
please-
call it?
We're a conduit under the law.
Okay. Is it just for businesses and places in McCandless?
I don't,
No.
no.
Anyone can.
And it's not just for
Any
business.
applicants.
Any applicant to the
Yes.
state?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Let's clarify what it's used for. There's been a misconception out there as to who is permitted to borrow. So if someone, Bill, you or Bill Reese, can please state, I would like to hear that for the record.
Well,
There's just, any office just can't apply for these funds, as I understand it. There are limitations under the law as to who may apply. It's been widely spread that why aren't there some greater marketing being done to have this money loaned to other folks and to use it as some sort of business incentive or something. That's not the purpose of an industrial development authority.
Yeah, most of the loans come from other lenders such as banks or brokerage firms that are doing bonds, and they're usually tax exempt entities or foundations. So most of the ones we have been, we've done Vincentian, we've done nursing homes, we've done schools. So it is limited. It's not to put in a plant or something like that.
Or could somebody put in a retail store or a dance studio or?
I don't
Give
think
funding?
that's, I'd have to
don't
look
think
at
so.
that
I don't
again,
think so
Cindy.
either.
I haven't looked at
But I
that
think
for a
that,
while.
I think it should be made very clear so that the public doesn't misunderstand that it can just be
Well,
used for
it
any
may be-
business.
It may be worth it for the next meeting to more thoroughly examine that and precisely who's eligible. And that's it's gonna be evident on within the statutory scheme and the ordinance.
I just
But it
don't know-
certainly
I don't know it
It wouldn't hurt
offhand.
to take a look at it again.
I just know there are
Well, it
limitations.
might be worth having the counsel for the authority to come in and talk. He knows that very well. Could answer questions.
Well, let's think about that.
Or at least get a list from them. I
Yeah.
don't think we have to go to having
I don't think we need to
Like
break
that.
it though.
I like
Is
that.
there a document?
There's a state law. There's a state law.
State law, Consumer Authorities Act,
We can get a written document from, I think we have to have that.
Municipal Authorities
Have
Act.
have that clear. Just have that clear.
Any other questions? Or comments? Hearing none, then I guess we're finished.